Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into... Oh my Jesus. We're having a cowboy gift dead episode. I love to see it. Welcome into NFT Live. We're about to get his take just here in a hot hootenanny second. Good to see everybody in the house today. We are covering the NFT and Web3 news from across the industry. We know that you guys have a lot of places to be, so we appreciate you having one of those places be us. It's a pretty nice time here in the NFT Live studio. We're going to talk about a lot today. BlockFi. We're going to touch on Solana. We're going to touch on ApeCoin. We got some things to talk about on the royalty front, believe it or not. And we have my main man, Gift Dead. What is going on, my brother? Besides that cool ass hat.
That's right. It's me, the Tau Milk Cowboy. I just had to front run you on the cowboy hat, Q. I can't let you be the only one with the swagger over here. You think because you got an ape, a new ape, that you're the only cowboy in town. Well, let me tell you something, partner.
Well, I think you're the only cowboy that's ever drinking oat milk.
It's not. No.
Is it drinking drink?
It's Tau milk.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Then you're not the only cowboy that's drinking.
Totally different.
Got it. All right. Well, you know what? We are going to have ourselves a good episode. The first thing I wanted to talk about really quick was a meeting by some OG community members. So this is Crypto Lander and Asmodee getting together in, I'm assuming, the UK, somewhere in the world. They were getting together, and this is just so wholesome. He posted this in our community Discord, the Web3 Discord, and good to see some OG lads here, some OG community members getting together. I wanted to start something off with I wanted to start this off with some wholesomeness, GIF. That was pretty much like, when I saw that this morning, I was like, oh man, that warms my heart. Warms my heart.
Wholesome,
I need it.
Wholesome AF. Love to see that. And that's what ultimately this new friendship technology, this NFT, is all about. All right, that's what it's about. Making new friends. Shout out, motivate on that front. But no, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And on that note, shout out Snepsid, who's just launching his project, trying to make his way out to Miami, trying to support his dream to go meet some of the homies. And what's the fucking term? Touch palms. I don't know. He wants some hugs. He wants some IRL hugs from some of the community.
I see. Okay. Well, if you drop that link in the private chat, I could potentially bring it up. The only other thing, community member wise, although we have a bunch of community members that are doing some really, really awesome things here in the Web3 space. Kane Mayfield apparently is like dealing with some COVID situation, so we just wanted to give a quick shout out to our main man and co-host of Speakeasy on Thursdays. It looks like Kane Mayfield's down for the count, man. I need to see what's up with him.
Send him some positive vibes, y'all. Send him some love. We need that man. He is one of the most important orators, an important voice in the community. So y'all send some love to Kane Mayfield today.
All right, what's going on here? This is Snepsid?
That's Snepsid's drop, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll drop that there in the chat as well. Prodigy, Cromer, Wild D. Let me make sure we get our pretty faces up here. Drew Bleem is in the house early. Hash Rhymes is in the house early. Guys, we are just getting started here on NFT Live today. Just like I kind of said, 5 seconds ago, we are touching on a bunch of topics happening in the industry right now. Feels like I'm waking up out of my Thanksgiving day and week hangover.
Stupor, the coma was real. Yeah,
it was a little. It wasn't fake.
I look like I just defrosted from being frozen for a millennia. I have to address this. It's getting close to the end of Know Nothing November, so don't worry.
Jesus.
At some point, I will shave. I won't be this much of a mess in about a week. But there's still a couple days left. So.
It works with the actual cowboy hat though. Like you should try to. You should try to just we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, we are getting into our first story here of the day. If you can, and not if, it's actually like I need you to actually hit the like button before we continue. That does help us get the episode out. You know that it helps support the channel. We appreciate that so much if you can make that happen. Also, it apparently it donates to my BlockFi fund, which is The first story
It's official.
of
It's
today.
official.
It is official.
We
Crypto
already knew.
lender
We already knew it was
BlockFi,
coming.
files for bankruptcy as FTX fallout spreads. All right, so what the fuck does this mean? They have about $250 million on hand there at BlockFi. So they do have some money, but their liabilities are a little bit larger than the cash they have on hand. I think it's like in the 1 to 2 billion range. They owe the SEC money. They owe like the SEC like 20, $30 million, I guess. They took a loan from the SEC. I didn't even know that was fucking possible. But basically, this is the story. BlockFi is essentially filing for bankruptcy. Now they can continue the process of potentially recovering users' funds, potentially kind of coming out of this on the other side. And it is Chapter 11, not Chapter 7. So that I think the difference there, again, is that Chapter 11 bankruptcy, you're looking to continue your business processes. You just kind of need to get that balance sheet together there. But we can look into it here. Gif, you got anything for the BlockFi side?
I haven't like fully read the article, or I mean, look, it sucks. It sucks if you're caught up in it. I know Q, you had some funds on BlockFi. I feel for you, and I think to your point, I guess if you want to look for the bright side of it, if it's not Chapter 7, then that means that there might be some future for whatever you're holding over there, and you'll probably get something out of it, even if it's in a couple years. Something might come.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hopefully something does come of it. I'll jump back in to the story on the block now, which I was looking at this earlier, and the block could like have a top 2, top 3 running for like the worst website interface imaginable. Like, this is just ugly. So the block, please get it together. But the story continues here.
Kind of looks like Decrypt, doesn't it?
Yeah, Decrypt looks a little bit better, maybe. I don't know. It's the daily newsletter signups for me that get me. But anyways, crypto lender BlockFi filed for Chapter 11. According to the firm's bankruptcy petition, which was filed Monday, BlockFi has claimed more than 100,000 creditors, as well as between 1 billion and 10 billion in assets and liabilities. There's a couple different numbers in here as well. It looks like they have some loans to the extent of 729 million with one trust company. This was the SEC piece I was talking about. It looks like they owe the SEC about $30 million there. FTX, they have an outstanding balance of 275 million. So it's just not good. Not good for BlockFi here as they go forward. But I mean, this was not unexpected, but to get the finality of it, to be like filing today and saying bankruptcy, this is what's laid out. It's going to be more FUD. It's going to be more of this contagion fallout. And, it was something that was necessary, but it sucks to see all in all.
Yeah. Well, you as somebody who was actually in the BlockFi platform, any other thoughts?
Look, I probably should have read the room when it came to them getting kind of essentially quote unquote bailed out after that Terra Luna situation. They got quote unquote bailed out by FTX at that time. That was a situation that probably should have lent me to believe that maybe I should move some funds out of there. And then you also had the situation with Celsius going down as well earlier in the summertime. So maybe there were signs. I should have moved some funds out of BlockFi. But, we're going to have the ApeCoin talk here in a second, which you had questions for me on the security of that contract and whether I would trust something like a DeFi, right? Well, now with this BlockFi situation, throughout my entire history of being in the crypto space, I've gotten fucked over on a balance sheet basis more so by CeFi than DeFi in that scenario. So will I trust another centralized lending platform? Should I self-custody my assets? All of these questions are being asked by people that were on BlockFi and just had this unfortunate situation happen.
It's interesting, and everything's so convoluted and confusing right now, in general across all of this stuff, because now you're tying together these different topics, right? You're bringing ApeCoin into this conversation, which it does like it looks like maybe you can pull up. It looks like you found somebody's already launching a global staking platform to solve the geo fencing or whatever issue. because you're talking about CeFi actually being more of a concern, but isn't a lot of the same risk with CeFi being built into this now by nature of having to custody your coins on somebody else's platform outside of the main platform? Like, I don't know, man. It's like there's layers of risk that are getting added in here, and new attack vectors that are coming online, which are always a risk.
Mm-hmm.
It's a risk without that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like it's risk multiplied. It's risk squared. And this is why, like, and me,
That's why I got into crypto, baby.
yeah,
Risk
well,
squared. That's where the
it's
outsized
why.
returns are.
Yeah, it's why I did too. But also, you've been lucky enough apparently to not have been totally destroyed or burned by DeFi so far.
So
I have
yeah.
had my hand burned multiple times. Very
Break
badly.
this down. Listen. If you're in chat, if you're like listening to us right now too, and haven't had a bad experience or a good experience with DeFi, drop it in the chat because I'm interested to hear in people's experiences being on different platforms. Some are good. Some have led to people making a solid amount of money. Some have led to people getting absolutely wrecked, such as the case in crypto. But Gift, what if you can talk about it? What platforms were these, and like what happened?
Well, I'll tell you two of them off the bat, right? So actually three. All three of them turned out to be bad investments and or rugs. Like, one of them was Stronger Nodes. One of them was Time Wonderland, and one of them was Olympus DAO.
Hmm.
A lot of these will sound very familiar, and some people are still like holding on to Olympus, like, no, it's just it'll work out. Like, I don't know.
Is
I
that a
haven't checked
marketplace
in.
token?
It's yeah, like it has its own token. Olympus definitely had its own. I think it was Ohm was their coin, and then there were strong and stronger tokens for the strong nodes, and then Time Wonderland had its own, like coins and wrapped coins and shit like this.
Okay.
So shout out Marty McFly. So people that were fucking around with DeFi, last year probably recognize a lot of these names because, they're all the rage, because the people that got in early probably made out okay. Because what happens with a lot of these DeFi staking schemes is they are essentially Ponzi-nomic, built on Ponzi-nomics. And so when you get in early enough and other people FOMO in after you and chase that, you can get out and maybe do really well. Like, people that get it that are like the insiders on these things, they probably make bank, which is why they exist, right? People fucking prop up these new coins, pump them, they get people in, and then they dump.
Yeah.
And there's nothing backing them up, right? At
So
the end of the day, so you get in because you believe that there's some kind of like ape. They like, okay, Time Wonderland at one point, and both Olympus DAO and Time Wonderland were doing a similar thing that ApeCoin's doing, where they promise you crazy APYs, and so they're paying you out in their own token. And the idea is that, well, if the token holds some kind of reasonable value, then this APY is going to be totally worth it over the course of 6 months to a year or two. Like,
mhm.
shit, I'm going to make a ton of this token. So if it holds even like decent value, then shit, I'm making crazy money. But again, there's nothing backing those things up. Once they get the people in, the early investors all fucking dump, and there's nothing backing it up. And so you're basically just farming. You locked up thousands of dollars into this thing, farming useless tokens at that point. So one sort of example of how this can go wrong really fast is that, like, if you don't know all the players behind it, and then it comes to light that they're also, famous ruggers from the ICO phase, like Time Wonderland. One
So
of the founders was anonymous, and then it got discovered he was some famous dude that ran off with $170 million during the ICO phase. And then at that point, it's like, okay, well, now, even if this was going to play out over the course of another few months or a year or two, it's just fucking crumbling immediately. So, one question that I would have for this platform for the staking of ApeCoin is like, do we know the people behind it? Are they trusted? Like, are there
Yeah.
any anonymous people tied to this? Do we know if there's any like shady businesses that are fucking tied to this thing? Like, how much can we trust it? And then stronger nodes was another example where, you know, you basically were signing up for these nodes, putting your money in to buy these nodes that were farming stronger tokens. And then they basically, again, it was built on Ponzi-nomics. They couldn't sustain what they were paying out, and they basically just phased out your earnings until all of that investment was worthless.
Yeah. And then you're not able to exit a lot of times on those pieces that like a node, for example, wouldn't have as much liquidity as
No.
something like a token that you can maybe market sell
As
and
far as I know,
potentially
you
lose.
can't sell it at all. You've
Yeah.
got somebody else's fucking node
So
in their ecosystem that's
Yeah.
worthless anywhere else.
here's what's interesting about DeFi, and that also bleeds into NFTs and bleeds into things that we're doing, is like some of these. I mean, Ponzi-nomics is a term that you could use there. Some of these have worked, and that's what leads to all these copycats that end up getting riskier and riskier as more and more continue. It's the same thing with
Well,
NFTs.
Olympus was one of those examples, and so like Time Wonderland was a fork, was a spin-off
Yeah.
of Olympus DAO, and I think there was a bunch of these different sort of spin-off forks from Olympus DAO because everybody was like, "Oh, Olympus has it figured out." I also lost a bunch of money on Olympus betting on that. Like, I don't think Olympus has it figured out. I think that's also basically just Ponzi-nomics. And again, if anybody has a more experience or has a really deep understanding of how Olympus DAO works that can explain it well, please share that. You know, come on the show. We'll give you a link. Come fucking talk to us about your experience and why you think Olympus DAO or any of these DeFi protocols make sense. I want to hear educated people's perspectives on this. But as far as I can tell from a pretty, you know, layman's point of view, as just a retailer that, you know, got into something because a bunch of YouTubers were like, yo, I'm making all this money. And then, you know, the coin crashes and goes to shit. It's like, it doesn't seem like any of this shit works, and it seems like it's all Ponzi-nomics.
So again, from a high level perspective, my response to that would be that some do end up working, right? A compound, a Aave, synthetics, like, so there's projects that you could point to that rely on some type of like financial, what you would call like a rehypothecation, where you're taking some assets, putting it into another, but really all they are. And I just like, if you want to get super simplistic with what these DeFi platforms are, is they found, just like ICOs, they found a novel way to bring a bunch of people's money together. If then you have a treasury that you can sustain with that money and then start building products on top of it that you can then attach to token utility, that's a good DeFi platform.
Yes.
The problem is it gets more and more risky the more it's been copied, because then there's nothing novel about it.
But the novel product point is very, very interesting. And so I think, again, like things like Olympus DAO, like stronger nodes alleged to have a product, but turns out didn't really have one at all. And I think that is a key differentiator potentially for ApeCoin. And for, like, you bring up Aave, like, as far as I know, I haven't spent any time yet. I've been wanting to go look into it because you keep bringing them up. But as far as I know, Aave actually has a financial product. Like, they're more of like a service, some kind of financial product for lending, et cetera. So they have some kind of like product attached to it. And that's probably why it's doing better than a lot of these others that are just promising crazy APYs without, again, having any sort of product tied to it whatsoever. ApeCoin is tied to the Yuga ecosystem, already has brand, IP, partnerships, different types of assets, and merch, actually physical things, events. There's utility there. There's some kind of product there. There is some value that is tied to that ecosystem beyond just the coin itself. Yep. This is part of why I think it's more interesting than any of these other things, why I'm still considering staking despite all this. I'm very much on the fence. This was like the meat of our conversation, and what kind of kicked it off is that the geofencing shit and having to go through additional hoops to participate in the ecosystem, introducing additional layers of risk, has me considering just aping out of the ApeCoin.
Aping out.
And just saying, you know what, at this point, the risk has gotten crazy. I've already been burned too many times. I'll just sit, you know, I'll skip on this one. I'll sell my ApeCoin and I'll hold on to my ape and you know, see how it goes. And hopefully it works, and maybe I'll keep benefiting from having my NFTs. I'm very much on the fence
Yeah.
at this point, and the reason why I still see a lot of value, which you've talked about, right? Like there's a lot of big players interested in this thing succeeding. There is utility. There's actually product tied to it. Like this is going to be like a leader in the industry no matter what happens. Even if it fails, it's gonna, it's an experiment. At the end of the day, it's still kind of cool to be in on the experiment. There's potential for it to actually work out and be rewarding. There is potential there. It could happen.
We talked to
so much risk.
There is my one big thing is, again, when you talk about a DeFi contract, right? And I say DeFi, and I feel like we're painting with a broad brush. It's just staking contract. It's not like a DeFi platform where you have like multiple different, pieces going on, where you're adding a second like a multi-token feature and all the. What I'm really trying to say there is on the spectrum of how complex this is. It's not that complex. Like a lot of DeFi platforms, you'll see a lot of really complex scenarios and different pools and all these different things. And sometimes you have to be double-sided. You have to do a lot. This is a staking contract. But
when you start to introduce additional layers of people's platforms and codes on top of that, it becomes that is exponentially more complex.
Agreed. So what we can do is we can hop into this piece. If you guys did have any last thoughts on BlockFi and CeFi and all these pieces, that is essentially creating a further bear market for yours truly, as well as Gifted and everyone here. So we'll probably have to slog through the mud a little bit and get through this bad, fuddy type news when it comes to a BlockFi going bankrupt. I'm sure there's a lot of other companies that will come out in the next, couple months still that will be related to this FTX, let alone FTX. Like, what's happening with SBF? Is he going to jail? Like, they haven't extradited him.
Bruh.
He's apparently just chilling in an apartment. There's all these other situations going on with that.
Okay, first off, I have to say, Q, what's a bear to an NFT god? You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
What's a
god to a king? No, king to a god. I don't know.
I saw a tweet to a fucking Tau Milk cowboy. I saw a tweet that was like, what? As somebody who lives in the Bahamas, what's incredibly infuriating is that SBF is still not, he's not arrested or brought to custody or anything. And, in the Bahamas, they recently threw somebody in prison for stealing like $8 worth of bread. Cause it's like, so literally this is the thing that is so fucked up about our world and our system, is that there's two different justice systems. And it's like the damage of somebody stealing $8 of bread to feed their family compared to what SBF has done is like not even fucking close. Why are we throwing a dude who just needed some bread for his family into jail when we're letting somebody like this
story as old as time
hang out in his fucking penthouse? But it is like, man, you really see it on another level in situations like this. This guy is like the biggest scammer in history, bigger than Bernie Madoff, has caused more damage to more people's lives, is clearly fucking guilty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's already been saying like, a lot of the first fucking virtue signaling was all bullshit. Like, I fucked up. He's saying, I'm sorry. I fucked up. Like, guilty. He did all this shit and probably a lot of other shit we don't even know about that's starting to come out. Like, check out the recent news about the fucking Alameda real estate company they set up in October to fucking,
where's Caroline?
Launder a bunch of money, into real estate around the world. So it's like, dude, the fact that this guy's not in custody and he's chilling out a fucking penthouse, figuring out how to get extradited to another country now.
Marty's saying we can't handle the truth. Marty, drop the truth on us, big dog. I want to hear this. He also, earlier in the conversation, Wonderland, he said, I got burned on time, Wonderland and BlockFi. Most of my worst NFT buys were during the bull from the Kong's Alpha. I mean, that's what happens in a bull market, right? It starts, very, like a couple dominoes fall, a couple pieces, start to fall where people start kind of copy pasting the model. You saw it with NFTs and PFPs, for example. Like by the end of the PFP bull market, I don't know if you guys remember this shit, but there was a PFP launch every single day, maybe 10 of them. And so once you start recreating that model enough times, the alpha, you just lose it. You know, there isn't a lot of returns when it comes to it's the same model, but it doesn't have the same recipes. It's like kind of just like copy pasting again, a situation that maybe was successful right at the beginning, but then you don't have that there at the end of the bull market. So again, we'll
derivatives, bro.
At the end of the day.
Dude,
okay, so we'll get into this. We'll get into this story real quick. I do want to like preface this so that people that maybe aren't aware of what happened. I believe about 4 days ago at this point, around Thanksgiving.
Like right around Thanksgiving, which is
So let's see the actual date, November 23rd. So yes, I think that's a day before Thanksgiving. Horizon Labs, which is the company. This is important. The company that is building the interface at ApeStake.io for people that are going to join this pool to participate. This is going to be the number one source, or was going to be the number one source for people to go to if they want to interact with a staking contract, if they want to stake their ApeCoin, and all these different things. So they come out on a day before Thanksgiving and say, big thanks to the talented community devs for their helpful improvements. Bug bounty delayed us a bit, so we shortened the pre-deposit period by a week to keep our original 12/12 go live. Alternate front-end sites going live. We'll jump into that here in a second. But the important part here is, and this is where the community kind of got up in arms, here is the geo-blocking on this fourth point. So it says, please note that ApeStake.io will be available to users in most countries. However, users in the following countries or regions will be geo-blocked: United States, Canada, North Korea, Syria, Iran, Cuba, Russia, Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk. We are aware that geo-blocking some users in North America is inconvenient for many members of the ApeCoin community. Unfortunately, in today's regulatory environment, we had no good alternatives. I love the shout out to America there. Like the people in Donetsk don't matter, apparently. Like they're just like, oh yeah, the other people. Sorry for the North Koreans that were in our community, but not really. Just the North Americans.
They know who butters their bread.
I butter a little bit of that bread. But listen. This is a situation that was not talked about. Are
you fucking in Luhansk right now, Q?
I'm
all right. Anyway,
I'm maybe. Do you know? Do you actually know if I'm in Donetsk?
I actually don't. If somebody could actually go figure out who is Nifty Q anyway? Who is he really?
International man of mystery.
We see him. We see his face. Allegedly, this is his real face. I don't know. Deep faking is getting really compelling, and now I'm actually.
I could be AI.
I'm questioning everything. So if anybody can actually get to the bottom of who this fucking guy is, let me know.
So a couple pieces that I want to bring up as it's related to ApeCoin here is immediately we had an answer by some of the community members that have been building these different tools. Again, this was kind of in the background. It was all going to be Horizon Labs. They've shown many screenshots, videos even of the interface where you'd have a pretty little dashboard. You'd be able to go in and see how many ApeCoin you're staking. You'd be able to claim on their dashboard. All this stuff is not going to be a thing that U.S. users will legally be able to do. Now, I do want to get to a Horizon Labs or I think it was an ApeCoin DAO, a response to that, the community essentially coming back and saying, what the fuck, geo-blocking, all this stuff. They basically came back and said, hey guys, there's such a thing as a VPN, correct? So they actually openly said this shit, which I think is hilarious. Anyways, Alex M. Curio is saying, you asked, we delivered ape staking coming soon, open for the world. This is an example of and I don't think we have apestaking.io. So careful with any links that you use here in crypto, but apparently I'm just like blindly trusting this. I'm not practicing good security hygiene here, but I do it so that I can show you guys the content. So I will sacrifice my wallet so that you guys can see this. But this is an example of basically in the ApeCoin interface, right? That is, I believe, a third party app not related to Horizon Labs. And if I'm actually seeing this correctly, it looks like this comes from the ApeCoin DAO. So This
Just because
might
they have an ApeCoin DAO link doesn't mean that they come.
well,
This is what
well,
I'm saying is that
okay.
like somebody needs to actually do a deep dive onto this shit,
Yeah.
so we know what the fuck this is.
So the reason I'm saying that is because it looks like the ApeCoin DAO website. So if I go to the ApeCoin DAO website, this is another story that we could touch on, but it does look like if I click on the home button here, it looks like the ApeCoin DAO website. Now there is no like staking. I don't think there's a staking drop down here, but it looks a lot like the ApeCoin DAO website. But this is the problem. Again, like you just touched on it. Nobody fucking knows. No, like now people are going to get themselves fucked because they're going to go to some weird third-party app that's going to, when you sign a transaction, it's going to drain all your NFTs and all your apes, so you won't be joining the staking fun. So this is the issue with the previously, I think Yuga backed Horizon Labs. Yuga backed Horizon Labs and said,
there was an official partner, Horizon Labs, for all of the coin, all of it. They launched the token. They were doing the staking, and now we can't just rely on them.
Yep.
And
so here's another example in the comments by Coda Capital. Again, this is just going to be par for the course. They're saying, nice work. We also have our own DApp for ApeCoin staking. So essentially, people are building apps to interact with the staking contracts.
We haven't even announced the fact that we're working on our own ApeCoin staking DApp, y'all. Like we have our own ApeCoin staking DApp that we're about to launch too. So like,
based out of Bahamas, we're in the Bahamas.
Yeah, it's based in the Bahamas. More the merrier, right? Like, fuck.
Technically, more the merrier is correct. Like this is how it should work. The problem is the understanding which one is going to be secure and which one's not. If you do want more dApps that interact with the staking contract, not having to go to like even one central, like let's say, here's an interesting piece. Coinbase could technically offer a centralized dashboard for ApeCoin staking, but this would be the negative thing, that this would be the same cycle we would go through again and again. Somehow they lose it, or somehow, again, there should be other avenues created, but the problem is it increases complexity when you try to go through that route.
And risk. And so the more the merrier is generally true with open markets, but it's only true to an extent, right? It's like the whole thing with paralysis analysis. Like when you put somebody in front of 50 different options, they might just walk away and say, fuck it all, versus just having like 3 to 5 good options. So I don't know, man. This is not something like when you're talking about something like staking an asset. I don't know that that's a place where I want to have 50 different options. You know what I mean? Like I just want to have the fucking legit staking option. So I don't know, man. I guess I come on the other side of this specific situation where, again, you're already operating in a world that's so fucking, like, there's so much risk involved, and every additional layer astronomically increases the amount of problems and risk. And to your point, it's not even just the risk with actually dealing with one of these quote unquote, more legitimate third parties that has been allegedly scoped out or is by legit devs. There's inherent risk just there by itself. But then the amount of additional scammy behavior and people getting wrecked by getting tricked into the wrong ones or getting faked by those websites. Again, it's like, even if they create something with great intentions that is doing the staking properly, like, do they have the resources to properly secure something that valuable?
Yeah. I want to show really quick the response by the ApeCoin DAO here. That was the response I was mentioning earlier. Good morning, Ape fam. We want to remind the community that one of the benefits of DeFi is that anybody can interact with a smart contract or develop clients and interfaces that allow users to interact with smart contracts. And that was quote tweeted from that Horizon Labs announcement. That was a fucking hilarious response by them, because essentially what Horizon Labs was saying was that due to regulatory reasons, we have to geo-block these people. And then ApeCoin DAO came out, was like, psych, you really don't have to. Someone could interact with if you're in the US, you can interact with this DeFi contract
This is all
through other tools. So it was wild.
Dude, this is so convoluted, dude. Because because this is what I've been thinking this whole time, right? Yes, you can set up a VPN, which would probably allow you to go ahead and use the normal front end. But like, if ApeCoin is under scrutiny from the SEC, you don't think they know what a VPN is? Like, you don't think that they're gonna try and factor that into like understanding that they might not be able to like specifically identify like this address is definitely using a VPN. Like, they might not be able to figure that out, but that doesn't mean that they can't use broad strokes to try and fucking regulate you or come down on you. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, man. It feels so fucking convoluted and weird to me that they're simultaneously saying like, yo, we can't fuck with the regulators. Like, we got to geo block everybody, and also like, but clearly publicly you can get around all of this shit.
That's what they basically said.
Dude, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It really, like actually think about like what they're doing. They're on one hand saying like, yo, we respect regulators, so we're not going to do this, while also publicly messaging the entire community like, hey, you can get around all this shit, right? Like, doesn't make sense. Like that does not make sense. And that's what concerns me. Again, the risk here is fucking astronomical. Because again, if like regulators know about fucking VPNs, so I'm not saying that they're going to be able to like piece together each address. That's not the point. Yeah. But if they know that people are subverting, the geofencing, then why wouldn't they just broad stroke take action against it all?
Yeah, it was weird. Again, the whole point is like, it was weird for ApeCoin, who is not associated with Yuga. This is the important regulatory language here. ApeCoin is not associated with Yuga, the people that essentially launched and I think they even go as far as to say the language is that the ApeCoin launched Ape. So it's all this like weird, like trying to like regulatory loopholes for ApeCoin to say we're a decentralized autonomous organization, therefore we can launch a coin that has utility and not be tied to Yuga. I agree that it's getting convoluted, so maybe we can like draw it a little back in to like just the ape staking conversation. I know you were concerned with a couple other things, and you might even like sell your ape instead of doing the staking here once the staking goes live, which I believe again is on December 6th. They said the December 12th window, and they shortened it by a week. So I need to make sure that those dates are correct. But if you are holding ape, this is my thing, is like, I'm having these conversations. If apes already know the situation, if you don't know what's going on, like do a little bit of research. If you hold an ape and have ApeCoin, this isn't a scenario that benefits people outside of the community that we want to get into the community, right? Like,
that's a good point. That's a good point, because I think initially I had thought otherwise. I thought that this was a great way to expand and bring more people into that would want to get ApeCoin, because they do have a liquidity pool just for Ape.
There is, yes, there is.
But your opinion, which I think is potentially valid, is that like if you're doing that, you're kind of a dum-dum. Like you're not actually going to benefit probably from this, and so it's not actually really growing the community at all. It's actually sort of
it's providing value to the people that already had the most value. It's the VCs that have a fuck ton of ape, so that the staking on a per, however they do the staking with the rewards, if it's on a rolling basis every it's all hypothetical, 5 seconds, 10 seconds a day, they're going to be
69 minutes,
every 69 minutes.
69 minutes.
The VCs that have 100,000 ape, or even a million ape, of 15 million ape, all of these numbers are hypothetical, but the people that have more ape benefit the most from getting this yield. So that's the issue. It's like, not financial advice, but if you're buying ape to get into the staking pool, that's an extremely heavy risk, because now you're going to have VCs, you're going to have OG ape holders, you're going to have all these people that are getting a certain amount of ape every second, or like I said, every 69 minutes, and they're going to be dumping that ape. or they should be, because I mean, unless they really, really believe in the long-term added utility value, you're adding that into the circulating supply. So it's tough. It's like, do something that benefits people getting into the community. You know, the merch, we like to laugh at merch drops and how kind of ridiculous they are sometimes. If somebody wanted to buy a Bored Ape, you know, merch piece, they had to buy Ape. You know, that even though we make fun of merch drops, like, that was an additional utility for people that weren't, you know, in the Ape ecosystem before. This feels like a win only for people that are you know, heavy in the ecosystem, and it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still think that the Old Navy partnership was low key the masterstroke of the entire fucking like movement. So, no, yeah, I think you have a good point. I don't know how much this does to actually expand, you know, the community. I don't know.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen, right? Like it is like, we're talking about it so much, not just because we're in it, but because it's a very exciting experiment that will have major repercussions for NFTs, for DeFi, for all this stuff moving forward.
I completely agree with that. A lot of great comments coming through. Marty McFly saying, I wish I sold that ape at $18 instead of that damn merch. I would agree with you. That's pretty expensive merch that we were buying there at the time. Crypto Mystic Ari's in the house, ape out of ape, and says, what's up, guys? So nice to see another OG community member here in the house. Dikens is asking if this is now a ratings channel, which I think maybe, but I mean, listen, how we got away with not doing a Thanksgiving like dinner rating, I don't know how it slipped by us, GIF.
Yo, cranberry sauce, S tier, bro. That's all I got to say about that.
That is literally all he has to say about that, because I'm not going to let him put put cranberries at the top of the list. A lot of comments on ApeCoin staking. I mean, all the way back. The community is Quantum Variant saying the community is creating tools for the U.S. and others to stake. Ape staking contract is all online. He also talked about the custody of it. So like no, I think individual or no group actually has custody of your ApeCoin here when it comes to like losing custody of your ape. So that's an important piece too. You're one, no, I don't think no NFT is making it into a contract. So you're basically, they read your wallet to see if you have the NFT that allows you to get into the pool. Now your ApeCoin is, I believe, being staked. Therefore, you know, it's leaving. Yeah. I believe it's leaving your wallet. I don't know if it's going to into anybody. Means.
I don't know how that works. How do you stake something without custodying it somewhere else? I don't know how that works. So if that's the case, I'd love to understand it better because
yeah.
That's as far as I know, staking is where you move your money into another custodial wallet where it is held for you, and that's how it generates. That's how. Yeah, that's the financial model. They take your money and do other shit with it, and then they pay you out.
That's not. They don't do any other shit with it. That is a very clear.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
No. It's on like these staking contracts, like ETH 2.0. You see, like ETH 2.0, okay. People were like staking into that contract.
It's on contract and you can see it and it's all transparent, maybe, sure. But even then, still, you're moving it into another place where it's being staked and it's being held outside of your wallet, typically. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are ways to stake without it ever leaving your wallet. I don't know what that is. Yeah. That to me doesn't sound like staking. That sounds like something else. So
I think... Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Quantum Variant seems to have a good idea of what's happening on the back end, but in a staking contract, your tokens are likely leaving your wallet and entering a contract that is secure. It's not. It doesn't belong to anybody else. There is no like. I don't believe there's like an owner like you would have in a like a wallet scenario.
Somebody has to own it. You can't. Like
I'm not that technical when it comes to like building these staking contracts.
Maybe it's multi-sig, or something like that. But like, there's got to be a contract owner when you deploy a contract, right?
Dikens is saying homemade cranberry sauce, very good. So apparently you got some love here. Unisex Old Navy BAYC is $24. Buy it now. Marty McFly is bringing up buy my listed doggos, which I wanted to make this point here when it comes to the ApeCoin staking is like, this isn't an additional utility for the NFTs. Like the ability to like you can't join the pool unless you just want to join the ape pool, the ape token pool. You have to own one of the NFTs. That does drive up the incentive to own one of the NFTs, which is a positive to take out of this. There's a lot of negatives being thrown around, but when it comes to owning these NFTs to get into the pool, you're gonna need to buy one of the 3 NFTs. Kennel Club is up huge. There might be a reason, or it might be some other side announcement about dogs being mounts or some bullshit that's being thrown around about kennels. But this is in a certified additional utility for the NFTs. How that affects the token holders, the ApeCoin token holders, we think it's negative, but it's a benefit for the NFT holders for sure.
Yeah, this is an interesting point from Asmodai saying UK regulators were hunting and trying to say that staked assets staked to a contract makes tokens out of your control in a taxable event. So that's a whole other thing too that I hadn't even thought of, right? It's like even moving it into a staking contract and out could be a taxable event. Hinting, he means. But yeah, man.
Love the IRS.
I mean, to your point though, Kennel Club is benefiting. So at the very least, again, this is having a positive impact on the Kennel Club floor. It's good. I mean, I'm still holding our Kennel Club now, but honestly, I don't know, man. Do I want to stake or not? To stake or not to stake? That is the question. Let us know what you think in the comments. Are you staking? Would you stake? If you were me, or if you're you and you've got ApeCoin, are you staking? Why or why not? To stake or not to stake?
Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Quantum Variant saying it custody's in the contract that is controlled by the DAO. So that was at least a little bit of information regarding the where it's being custodied.
But is that still, if you're going through a third party, is it still doing that? Or is it custodied on a separate contract?
So all of the apps are just an interface to interact with the contract. I don't think the contracts change. It's just that the third-party apps built by these other groups, other than Horizon Labs, they're all interacting with it. It's just, in a different interface, which again leads to security problems. If you allow somebody, allow that app to, maybe you sign a contract and you allow it to do a certain function, that could lose custody of your tokens. Maybe you never see them again. I don't know. This is the problem with Horizon Labs coming out with that piece. Marty McFly saying it's secure if it was audited. So there's the other piece. When you have DeFi, it's the security is not a human element. It's a code element. He also said something earlier that Andy James was talking about that you had a good response to, which was are we propping Yuga up to fail essentially? Should we be not? I even have a hard time phrasing the question because I believe in the other half, which is it very clearly is the largest NFT ecosystem and therefore we talk about it the most. So I guess the question would be are we propping Yuga up in a situation that it shouldn't be as a leader in the NFT space? You kind of know what I was talking about. You were there for the morning show, but
I mean, I suppose you could say at this point there's some kind of propping them up, but that's called inertia. That's called momentum. They launched a successful product that was so successful, and then they executed so well on a roadmap and kept building that they got to a scale and a level of success that made them as big as they are. I mean, I don't think it's just because people are just propping them up. I think that it's they created a product and a demand. It's a market.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe we just stop propping them up. I mean, it's kind of okay, then you're exiting half of the market. And this was my argument, is that I'm not going to try and put words in anybody's mouth, but basically the comment was made something like, we should stop treating them like they are the NFT space. but so much of the NFT space right now is tied up in their ecosystem. And that's like, it's not, the only way to change that is for everybody to exit a lot of different properties that right now are down a lot, and try and get everybody to ape into other things. The part of the issue with that is that if you were going to have a mass exodus and tell everybody to reallocate again, because in the first half of 2022, 50% of all NFT sales were within the Yuga ecosystem. So it's not that like we're just propping them up. It's like, no, right now they are commanding the NFT space. Like, and what happens to Yuga affects everything and ripples out everywhere. And right now, so much of the liquidity in the space is tied up in their ecosystem. So if we were to like somehow say, yeah, let's stop propping them up and everybody exit the Yuga ecosystem, a lot of that money would maybe flow into other projects. A lot of that money would probably just bounce. So like it's probably a net negative. Like if Yuga fails, I think it's a net bad for the space. And so I don't think it's propping them up for us to all be hoping that the first ever like NFT native, crypto native conglomerate succeeds or does well or continues to grow and provide value. Like I think that any of us interested in the success of the space and the growth and the mainstreaming and to bring more people in and have all of this stuff make sense and net out, I think we want them to succeed. Like whether you don't like them or not, you might still want them to succeed if you care about the space. And that's, again, to me, it's not good or bad. It's numbers. Like you look at the volume that is tied into their ecosystem. It's not like, oh, people are just propping them up. It's like, no, that is where the volume and a lot of the value and the liquidity currently lives.
Yeah, we're going to talk about ApeCoin DAO Marketplace, which launched too, which plays into a lot of this conversation. Like what they're doing from a DAO perspective is another thing that could be looked at as a case study for successful DAOs. We don't have a lot right now, honestly. Like Nouns DAO is great from a process standpoint and a community standpoint. We have Maker DAO. We have, like, I could name on my 10 fingers probably the DAOs that are doing it correctly. ApeCoin DAO being one of them. Yeah, Nouns DAO. So we got an emotional damage from Prodigy. Emotional damage. Marty McFly saying, yeah, it's like people want decentralized, but they don't. NFTs are almost centralized to Yuga now. Again, like that just is. I don't know. Like nobody wished that into existence, and I get short of like leaving the NFT space. I don't know what we do. Quantum Variant is saying how many projects are now under the Yuga umbrella. Marty's saying too many. Shout out to Quantum and Marty making the chat lit today, along with several others here. Prodigy as well. Look, let me get into the ApeCoin DAO Marketplace really quick. This was a cool announcement from Z Herwigen. Here's apparently a member of Snag Solutions, which is launching the ApeCoin DAO Marketplace. This was pretty cool, man. There's first of all, there's a staking feature. Speaking of a third party that's making staking on their app. The other piece here, which I want to touch on, is not only does it, and this comes directly from the tweet.
Is
not
that
only
your ape?
No, it's a brother. Not only does the ApeCoin Marketplace lower fees for sellers, 0.5% fees on ETH sales, and 0.25 fees on Ape, but a full 0.25 of each sale is held in a multi-sig to fund DAO initiatives. Really cool economics there. Basically, what they're doing is shaving off the service fee that you would see on an OpenSea, for example. So OpenSea, I think, takes 2.5%. These guys are taking 0.25%, and part of that service fee is funding DAO treasuries and initiatives and all these different things. So that's a cool aspect of someone making their own marketplace here, and shaving a little bit off of what you would pay on OpenSea and still leaving that creator royalty there. So maybe the user is paying the creator royalty, but not as much to someone like in OpenSea. So yeah, ApeCoin DAO Marketplace. That's a cool initiative to see. That's one of the first we've seen from an NFT PFP project, at least.
Heck yeah, that's cool. Also, shout out Marty McFly. He hates 7.9 billion people, but we're all right. Hey, thanks, bud. You too.
Appreciate it. Usually. All right. This is a look into that marketplace, right? So they basically have an aggregator here from, it looks like X2Y2, Looks Rare, and OpenSea. So this is the ApeCoin marketplace you're taking a look at, again, with lower fees. I'm not sure how they're kind of getting around all of these fees. Again, like when you get down to the nitty gritty, it looks like an aggregator, but they're saying that they're offering less fees, but also pulling that from OpenSea. So I'm not sure how that works from what they said was the offer of less service fees.
It is confusing at this point if those fees are being enforced on other marketplaces and they're doing it through those marketplaces. So yeah, because wouldn't you have to list it on that marketplace?
That's what. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So maybe what you just showed is the interface for if you list on that marketplace, that's the fee structure. But for any of those others,
gotcha.
It probably shows it shows the whole market. So it aggregates all of the listings, but it shows which marketplace they're on. So if it looks like they have an option to list on their marketplace now.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably correct. All right, we're coming up on about an hour here on the episode. We are going to touch a little bit on some Gam3 Awards. That was a pretty interesting award list that you kind of rolled out. We're going to hit a little bit, I think, on Solana, or we could have the royalty discussion. I'm down to do it. Just wrapping a bow on this. I
don't want to talk about royalties right now, bro.
Thank you. I honestly, I was cool with that.
I have a limit on how much I can think about royalties each day, and we already hit that in GM3.
So maybe have a TLDR, like literal 30 seconds, be like, here's the update. This is what we're kind of learning. That might be something we can do right after this. I do want to wrap a bow on the staking conversation, though. So ApeCoin Staking is going to go live in early December. Marty McFly is saying I would sell all the Ape next pump and forget staking, mainly because I don't think Ape will be worth much once people get it via staking. So again, wrapping up this conversation, there is going to be extra Ape that is being put onto the marketplace. The question being, can they introduce enough utility to have people buy Ape? You know, there's going to be people that want to buy Ape to stake it. There's going to be consistent Ape that is locked up, so that is technically taken out of circulation. These are all the questions you have to kind of look at to say, okay, is ApeCoin going to go up in price? Should I just sell my Ape right now? Which leads into my question, Gif. Based on the conversations we're having today, if ApeCoin Staking went live tomorrow, what are you doing?
I'm so ambivalent and on the fence that I might just like literally do half and half. I might stake half of what I currently have. I wouldn't buy any more probably. I'd probably maybe stake half of what I currently have and sell the other half. Maybe like that. You know, at least then it's like de-risking, you know, part way and still being in the experiment, having some skin in the game.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, I think
I hope somebody will do who's like, you know, like a dev or an auditor will do the due diligence and the research on these third parties. That's what I hope, because I definitely don't want to be used. Like, I'm probably not going to set up a VPN for this, even though that might be the best way to do it. I don't know. To me, again, it's like it's all getting convoluted anyway. I don't currently use a VPN, so I'd have to set up a VPN specifically for staking, which again, like, I don't know.
We wouldn't do that, would we now, Gif? We wouldn't use a VPN to access.
I don't know. Well, my point is, I don't know if at the end of the day that's actually going to change anything. Like, frankly, like it might just let you use the front end, but I don't know that that's going to like protect you is what I'm saying. So that's why it's like, I don't know that I'm going to set up a VPN. I'll probably want to just use a third party, but I hope that somebody will actually do the due diligence, who knows what the fuck they're doing. Yeah. And then I'll probably do an experiment, but I don't know if I'll put my whole bag into it at this point.
Okay. I'm going to stake. I will be monitoring in the coming week, like the third party apps. If I choose not to use a VPN, which I never use, so we're not advocating for the use of VPNs.
Could somebody explain? Could somebody tell us what a VPN is?
Short of using a VPN, you go onto such as ApeCoin DAO laid out. It's a decentralized, contract. US users can interact with it using third-party apps. So I will find and I will do the due diligence on maybe something that's associated with ApeCoin. That would be huge. If I know we pulled up the apestaking.io. If that's associated with ApeCoin DAO, maybe that's the one you want to go with from a third party perspective. Again, this is not financial advice. We got to do research. But if I do, in fact, find a legitimate third party outside of Horizon Labs, I will be staking. If I have any extra left over ApeCoin, then I will probably sell or at least put that into just the Ape staking pool itself. So we'll see. Gabe from BitLecture Labs in the house. Apparently he's behind here. I don't know how far he's behind, but he's really going in. He's saying, we buying apes today. I dare you to buy one. You won't. Double dog dare even. Use code NiftyQ for 20% on Cyber Monday. Gabe's like lost in the sauce right now, I think.
It is Cyber Monday, and we haven't even acknowledged that. So, if you got some shopping, some online shopping to be doing, don't forget, it's a good day to be out there shopping around.
Is it a good day? I don't have any money, so I don't know.
Cyber Monday, bro. It's apparently one of the biggest sales days of the year.
All right, we will continue the staking conversation if you guys have any other questions. Otherwise, we have to move on into this next piece, which is the Gam3 Web3 Awards. Apparently, there's like multiple categories here, GiftEd. So there's best mobile, best adventure game, best casual game, which I think houses some of the games that I would personally attest for. It looks like in the Gam3 nominees for best casual game, we have Blanco, State and Arena, Axie Infinity, My Pet Hooligan, and I have no idea what Legends of Venari is. But from a pound for pound best list, this is probably games that I have played, and obviously Axie Infinity. So I would say My Pet Hooligan, Blancos, and Thetan Arena, all good games to be on this list.
The one that we brought up was the best game of the year, which has some that nobody's heard of, and then has Illuvium, which isn't even like fully launched yet. So that was
yes,
that was the one that we were talking about, was the best game of the year. It felt like it was stretching pretty hard at this point, which again, to be fair, I don't know how much they really have to work with right now. They're trying to plant a flag as like the Web3 Game Awards. And so, you know what? Good for them, building during a bear market. Can't hate on that. But it does seem like, they're obviously stretching or don't have a big pool yet. And that's kind of where it is. It's fair. It's where it's at.
That's fair. They're picking for, like, Aurori made the list on the TBA playable category. So I don't know if Aurori should be on any of these lists, but top 5 best RPGs. We gotta get Phantom Galaxies, Illuvium.
We got to get you some oil for your mic rig, bro. You're just like
I like it. It makes me like one of the people, I think.
One of the people.
Look, I'm not one of these like I'm not like one of these like rich fancy
well-oiled
MFers.
Machines.
Yeah. No, I'm one of the people. Best multiplayer game as well. Here we go. Best multiplayer game. So I'm seeing some that I've seen. So Big Time's on the list. I don't know Metalcore. Asmund, I please, our resident Web3 gamer here. And we also have a couple others. What do we got? Splinterlands made the list. Illuvium, as you said, made the list. So they're coming along. But not where we would have liked to see Web3 gaming at this point, or NFT gaming, not play to earn gaming. We can't use that term anymore. It's off limits, kind of like my ape on OpenSea. But we're doing a lot here, covering the space. We're at an hour here. Anything else you want to cover today, Gifted? Can you give us an update on some OpenSea scenarios? Like what is the TLDR? I don't want to fucking jump down the rabbit hole. I'm looking, but I don't want to go down.
About royalties?
We're talking about royalties. I see some comments.
Talk about it. Okay, so the update there was that people are realizing that manifold contracts and royalties aren't getting covered. They're not respected. So this obviously sucks because people go to tools like Manifold, a lot of artists and creators, for no code solutions, and they're getting fucked. They're getting fucked right now, and it really sucks. It sucks. And OpenSea is doing this power grab where they have a code snippet. The only way for any new collections to basically get royalties is if you inject an OpenSea code snippet into your contract, which is, you if you have centralization concerns, then you don't want a marketplace dictating the standards for all NFT transactions, which is what OpenSea, that's the play that they're making. That's the bigger play that is getting lost. You know, it's like when you zoom out from all the like day-to-day like royalties over here versus like over here and like everybody concerned. If you zoom out and take a 20,000 foot look at what's actually happening, OpenSea is making a massive power grab by trying to get their code snippet injected as the standard into all smart contracts. Because not only does it, you know, create this filtering mechanism that is like, you know, the reason why people are doing it and not asking these questions is because it can help protect some royalties right now. But the trade-off is that now you are largely beholden to OpenSea and allowing them to control the standards for all of NFTs moving forward. So as is the case often in human history, people will trade in their safety, their security, their autonomy for convenience, or they'll trade in their autonomy and their independence for convenience and safety. And that's what's happening right now is they're just looking for an easy, quick solution for the uncomfortable problem that's at hand. And OpenSea is like, here you go. Here's our little code snippet. This will help for now.
But that's essentially what you're saying is that is like a Trojan horse. They're basically saying, here's the code snippet that allows on-chain royalties, but any NFT associated with any collection associated with it now has to have that code snippet in order to be listed on other exchanges. That's what you're saying.
Because it also it has multiple effects. It's not just this filtering thing. It also makes you largely beholden to OpenSea's marketplace in a lot of ways, because it can very easily filter out all other marketplaces and make you only able to buy and sell on OpenSea. So again, yeah, it's actually a much bigger power grab that has large implications on the market dynamics in the future. And the bigger issue is that, you know, as Jeff Jag and Quantum Variant can much more eloquently explain than I can, there are other decentralized solutions that OpenSea could have and said they would sign on to that they basically eschewed and walked away from for their own proprietary solution. That's the problem. They could have gone the decentralized standard and they said, what if we create our own standard?
GIF, I'm going to pull you out of this rabbit hole. This is me physically pulling you out before we get too far down. If you read into the last point I'll make on this is X2Y2, which was a competitor to OpenSea and one of the major players in this royalty debate. They came out with that announcement the other day. And if you read between the lines, it was basically like, well played, OpenSea. Well played. Because it essentially, again, forced them into making moves that they didn't necessarily have as a narrative on their platform. And then also this code snippet, they, of course, understood the implications. So X2Y2 coming out with a well played there. Yo, breaking news. And I also want to get topics from the chat here before we end today.
Home
Depot, not Home Depot. This is Elon Musk, of course, the man, the myth, the ledge, saying Apple threatened to remove Twitter from the App Store. That, I mean, come on, guys, are you buying an Android if Apple is basically like, yo, you can't use Twitter on your device? Are you? Is it? Would that push you to getting an Android, opening it up to the chat?
I don't know anything that would push me to get an Android yet. There's BlueStacks, so there are already alternatives, and I think more alternatives for running Android clients would pop up probably. Although, you know, iOS might be able to shut all those down as well. I don't know. I think it's fascinating. I think it's interesting. I don't want to speculate too hard on it, but as far as me, like I am built right now, like it's going to take more than that to get me out of my Apple shell that I'm in.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay. I believe
for good or bad, I'm deep in the Apple ecosystem.
Same. Let's see. Prodigy saying, "Yo, wait, you mean there are girls 1.3 miles away that really want me?" Oh, okay. So we're getting spammed. Okay, got it. Thanks, Prodigy. Marty McFly saying it's time for the 1 month Reddit avatar recap. I assume that they are dead, which is a good point to come to and say, if you leave a like, it supports GiftEd's Reddit avatar fund. That's what we're kind of putting out here on the network. If you leave a like, it does support GiftEd in whatever ways that helps. So hopefully that helps. What is a Reddit avatar worth right now, GIF? Like I feel like we should do this more.
I haven't looked. I didn't get into it with a short-term flip mentality, so I haven't been looking.
That's a safe way to say that.
I'm pretty sure that I bought at the top. I'm pretty sure.
Look, this happens to literally everyone here on the channel, and I do think it's going to be worth more than you paid for it at a certain point in the future because of the provenance. But I feel like we should have a segment here on the channel that we come back in a month's time and try to look at this. You're the victim here right now, but I was the victim before you. I bought into some bullshit, guaranteed, that we could talk about here on the channel. But I don't want to hurt. I want to know where are we at, GIF?
You just said oof. Good. Oh wait, yeah, not looking too good. I can say that much. At least what I'm seeing so far. Hold on, I need to go look.
Okay, so Marty McFly's here as well. I'm looking at the redditfloor.com, but it's not really giving me good. It's like up on 7 days, but I really can't tell. Unavailable due to OpenSea issues. Okay, Reddit floor. Marty McFly saying you guys were all about Reddit. Listen, like we were all about Reddit as far as its implications for one, Polygon for sure. Two, just the broader space in general. I didn't buy a Reddit avatar. I think me and Biggie both abstained.
Down. They're definitely down. Like I bought at the top compared to where it is currently, but also. Again, I didn't buy it for a short-term flip. So everything's so short-sighted here. I think, if to be fair, if you want to do a 1 month check-in on buying NFTs, let's do a 1 year check-in.
Love it.
Like these things are digital assets that like if I'm buying a Reddit avatar way after they launched because I believe in the project, that's not a flipping mentality, right? So bottom line, I didn't get in early with the hope to flip.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Like right now, it's like you look at pretty much any of my bags right now, they're all fucking down. So I don't know. Yeah. Like my ape is like, what are the ape floors back up to like 65 or something? But like it was at 150 a couple months ago.
Yeah, this is a 7 day volume as well as a price floor chart here. So yeah, I mean we've seen a little bit of a rebound here in ETH terms when it comes to some of these price floors. Apes at 67. Looks like mutants are getting the bid too.
Yo, did apes flip CryptoPunks again? What?
Yeah, no one talks about that. Only the other way around. Only the other way around.
Every single time, it's like huge news, and CryptoPunks are back on top.
Yeah, the other way, it doesn't matter. Doodle's up 15, Moonbird's up 20%. So we've seen a little bit of a bump here. Kennel Club, I think, is even up higher in the last 24 hours. It's up like 70% or something like that. But look, man, like. Again, I get back to the original thesis we had on Reddit. It wasn't to fucking short-term flip some Reddit avatars. It was the fact that you have this 100 million like user app that is saying, hey, we're actually getting into this, and has shown multiple times over that they're actually legit about it and getting into the Web3 space, offering an interface so people can maybe get onboarded into something like Polygon. That's what we were talking about here. It wasn't like, hey, you're going to buy these Reddit avatars and you're going to fucking make so much money in a month's time. You have no fucking idea. That's not what we said.
They also have built-in utility that not any others do. So I agree with everything you just said, Q. They're also like dynamic, interactive NFTs within the avatar system in Reddit. But to your point, Q, about like, where is everything going? My thesis with this and why I bought into it, again, it wasn't because I think I'm going to flip these in a month. That was not why I bought in. My thesis is that I think Reddit is now positioned to be one of the best launch pads for NFT projects, branded integrations moving forward, because they were able to get 300 3 million Polygon wallets signed up through their platform, and they've shown that they can do it well with their digital collectible strategy, and that they can integrate into the platform seamlessly. So that thesis and everything that you just said coming together, what does that mean to me? That means that Reddit, while it will be integrated into the decentralized NFT ecosystem because they've done it well like that, right? You can buy and sell Reddit NFTs on OpenSea because it's not stuck within the Reddit ecosystem. It is part of the larger decentralized Ethereum, blockchain ecosystem, whatever, the aggregators, all that shit. What's the point? The point is, I think Reddit is going to be a marketplace in of itself that will actually have a lot of value. But just like a good game, this is like, again, I've been saying Reddit is going to be the case study that a bunch of these brands, all these agencies, they're going to be all their case study decks that they send of how do you do a good example. Here's why. Because this is exactly what a good gaming publisher should do. It is seamlessly integrated into their ecosystem, into their games, etc. But it still allows you to buy, sell, transact in the open marketplace. And so that's what I see, is that they've created the potential to have this valuable subculture or community or marketplace in of themselves. And so those Reddit NFTs, maybe they're valuable on the open market, on OpenSea, et cetera. They might have a lot of value driven just within the Reddit ecosystem in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the utilities that come with these official Reddit avatars and different values and things that start to get layered. And then as that marketplace scales and grows and more people participate, they start to go back and be like, what were the first NFTs on the Reddit, marketplace? Just like how people have started to value the early FX hash NFTs. So like the RGB cellular automaton, it was the first and it was the first generative NFT minted on FX hash. So people look at that like it's a squiggle, which was the first NFT minted on the Art Blocks platform. It's all about provenance within a certain sub community. And so
for anybody that wants to buy my CryptoKitties, is very, very willing to do so. Dude, CryptoKitties get no love, but it really had a lot to do with Dapper Labs being like, fuck it, we're just like dropping CryptoKitties all the fucking time that supply. Oh, by the way, you can mate them, so like the supply is like never ending. So yeah, I would love to sell my CryptoKitties, although I they're cool there for provenance as well.
And you know what? Actually, I've never put this together until right now, Q. So thank you for that.
Yeah, got it.
If I ever want to explain my issue with open editions again, I'll just point to CryptoKitties, because that's basically what it is. It's an open edition.
Break that down. Like, so you're saying like the supply is not capped, essentially.
It's open.
Okay.
It's an open edition, basically. Like, even if each one is like unique, there's an unlimited supply. There's no limit to, because you could think of like, look, Bored Apes are not technically an edition. Every single one is a one of one. But also, like, if it was an open, if you could mate them and then there was a million versions and everybody could create one, and it's basically an open edition at that. It's just open. There's no limit. There's nothing keeping the scarcity in check. And this is what open editions do within the art world. And this was, again, I won't go down this rabbit hole, but this is what Nifty Gateway was doing, and they also didn't focus on community value, and so they cash grabbed a bunch with these open editions, really high price point without any scarcity or definition on what the scarcity was, and that's a bad way to do these, in my opinion. So anyway, I just like using
my pain.
Yeah, I just like using CryptoKitties as kind of an example of why open editions don't work.
Okay. Yeah. Use my pain there. Explain it literally. Be like, I know a guy. Literally, it's not I know a guy who knows a guy. It's I know a guy who has been violated by the Dapper Labs team. Just say that.
I got plenty of pain in my own I can use, but all right, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Gabe is also in the chat saying, I'll trade you some crypto dickle butts for those kitties. I don't know if is Dicklebutts a is that a derivative? That's it's not even the original crypto dick butts. Jesus,
I have a Dicklebutt.
I'm down bad, bro. I'm down bad. All right.
Yeah. How are Dicklebutts doing?
So do you want the original collection of the CryptoKitties, or do you want a derivative of Crypto Dick Butts? That's how bad CryptoKitties is down. We had a comment from Asmodai as well saying, have you tried your PFP avatars in the sandbox yet? Even just a look on the sandbox's website's avatar section. I see the rabbit hole going down into the sandbox's platform right now. We will save that for tomorrow. We'll go into the sandbox interface tomorrow so that we can kind of look at what they've got going on from their avatar perspective and the addition of that feature. So we'll leave that for tomorrow, Asmodai, but thank you for bringing that up. Otherwise, man, we are at an hour and about 20 minutes here, give or take, with the timer to start. So we're going to get out of here pretty soon. Drop any comments you guys got. Appreciate you guys stopping by here today. Of course, everyone has somewhere to be, but you chose to be here with us for about an hour, and like I said, an hour and a half today. So thank you so much for doing so. We're always going to love Yuga here on the channel, Marty. I don't know what Never Fade Yuga Dare. Listen, they're a part of me. So I'm never going to fade them. I'll never. I got my hand on my heart right now. You see that?
Clip it. Clip that shit.
The hate on Yuga will never stop. It's part of being at the top, man. It's part of being at the top and having, your crypto punks FUD coming through, even though they're owned by the same people. Shout out to Marty on that one.
Can't make a bunch of friends without making some haters.
The truth. Santino, you got it, man. Oh, I'll be there. I don't know what we're talking about, but you got it for sure.
Yeah. Smash the like, subscribe. Our vibe, our tribe. Yo, wait. Last thing.
What?
Predictions for tomorrow. In the chat, let us know. USA versus Iran. Give us
all
your
I want to know is
boldest predictions about what's going to happen.
How is Argentina doing? How's that prediction going? Is that good?
I mean, they can still advance because Messi fucking showed up in the last game.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I saw that against Mexico. That was great.
Where is Messi? You found him. He showed up. Yeah, that's right.
Gabe is saying they hate us because they ain't us. Santina is saying, does that mean Q is going to get a Yuga tat? No.
You should.
I'll tell you what. If Yuga gets, if 8 goes back to 25 and Bored Ape goes back to 150, I will get a fucking Bored Ape tattoo. You put it here live first. That's what we're gonna do.
Gabe says USA 1-0. Let's go. I love it. They're gonna advance.
It's not. They're gonna park the bus tomorrow. That's the one thing that we all know. They're gonna park the bus. They're gonna. I think if Iran ties, they actually get on through. So if there is a draw, Iran and England go through, we need to actually, of course, win. So I think it's going to be pretty low scoring. That being said, if we do score early, the game completely flips. They'll open up and have to score to tie.
I think all U.S. men's team games are low scoring. I don't know if we ever have any high scoring games. We haven't always. Yeah, we don't typically have a powerhouse attack. Unfortunately,
I'm just glad we don't have to deal with Josie Altidore anymore. As long as we don't have to see that dude grace the field in those colors, I am okay.
Wow,
guys, appreciate you here on NFT Live. We are doing the GM Web3 Morning Show, the one and authentic GM Web3 Morning Show, hosted by Gift Dead. And occasionally supported by his supporting cast, of course. But we do that every Monday through Thursday on Twitter Spaces. Then we come here. We appreciate you joining us here on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter if you're there. We love you guys so much. I don't know if we're not. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not getting that LinkedIn hooked up, bro. We will see. I guess we'll have to. Let's have a DAO proposal to get on the LinkedIn. How about that?
We'll sidebar it. We'll sidebar that one.
We'll third party.
We'll offline that. Yeah, third party that one. Yeah.
Guys, we're gonna have to leave here to talk about LinkedIn. That's the first time I've ever said that. But thank you so much, our Vibe, our tribe. See y'all tomorrow.